Please, thank you guys. Let's celebrate with guys. Whilst you're standing, let's turn to Job chapter number 8, verse number 7. Whilst you're standing, just allow me to celebrate my wife this afternoon. Amen. She wanted to be here, but she couldn't. Is that enough celebration for my wife? This morning I woke up and I prepared breakfast for her. Oh yeah, those not our room. You have a church today? I did breakfast this morning. I was in the cooking mood, you know. I did a good breakfast. Oh, I'm good, trust me. There is someone whose food you want to eat. It's called my food. Glory be to God. Oh, trust me, don't fight. Hey. I came in a preaching spirit today, because we're going to have great and amazing church. I'm going to be dealing with the subject, build your future. Somebody say, build your future. Give a neighbor, I say neighbor, build your future. All right, I want to remove this so that I can preach. Thank you, Tadiwa. God bless you. It's not a gift as yet. Job 7, verse number 8. Job is in the Old Testament. Job is in the Old Testament. And then we're going to read another scripture from Genesis. Job 8, verse 7. Are you there? If you're there, shout excellent life. That's not a shout. Shout excellent life. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end shall greatly increase. Let's say that together. Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end shall greatly increase. One more time. For the last time, on top of your voice. Right, so your latter end shall... What shall happen to your latter end? Say it shall greatly increase. Turn with me to Genesis chapter number 45. Genesis 45. Genesis 45. Verse number 15. So, Kate, do you hear that thing there? It's the kicker. You hear it? It's the kicker. Not the keys, just the kicker. It's the one that's got that. Just go cut it off completely. Genesis 45, verse 15. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren. What did he do? Now, this is Joseph. Right, that's very good, son. So, Joseph kissed all his brethren. He kissed them. It's the kiss. I still need it. Put it up, listen. That's fine, that's okay. That one is fine. That one is fine. That's the kicker. And wept upon them, and after that his brethren talked with him. Father, we thank you for your word once again. Give us understanding in Jesus' name. The church said amen. Please find someone to sit. God bless you. God bless you so much. So the story of Joseph here is that this is after Joseph had revealed himself to his brothers. You know the story. Joseph makes known himself to his brothers. Then they cry, they kiss each other, they weep, and then they talked as a family. Job is interesting because Job opens up by saying, your beginning was small. Who here can say, my beginning was small? So everyone is a testimony. If you don't have that story, just look at the way you were born. Some of you were 3 kgs, others were 2.5, others were 3.8. But now, if You are not following Kathy's statuses. You are somewhere on the upper end of your kgs. A group of friends of mine said to me that I have a healthy body because they're a bit gigantic more than I am. So I was saying, you know what, guys, I want to be like you. I said, no, don't go there. Don't come here. Stay where you are. So I can testify in the year 2025 that in the year 2023, though my beginning was small, I am not going to remain this size. Do I have a church today? Yeah. I don't know why you're tense. I don't know who you're fighting. Yet thy letter end shall greatly increase. What shall increase? What shall increase? So it tells you that every one of us has a letter end that's coming. Are you with me today? Yes, you have a letter end. You've got to know that. There is an end that's coming. At least 5 years from now, you're not going to be the same person. You're going to have more money than you have. Yeah, you will, trust me. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 7, verse number 8. In this church, we need to have a Bible and a notebook. Next week, Pastor Matthew will be having this thing functioning. Next week. Ecclesiastes 7, verse number 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. What is better? Do you see that? So, if there was somebody that walked out of your life, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, who left you because you're poor, you must quote this Bible verse for them, Antiga. Oh, do I have a church? Why? Because better is the end of a thing than the beginning. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. So there are people that are called patient in spirit. One of the things that, I think it was Bishop Vukani, blah, blah. I can't remember. Yeah, it should have been Bishop Vukani. We're having a gentle conversation. And then he said to me, one of the things that the Lord has given you is the ability to have delayed gratification. Because he had watched my life for a while. He had seen how God had been gentle with me, helped me through times of difficulty when I was very poor. And then he sees another chapter of my life. Then he says that that's a mark of a person who has the ability to delay gratification. Do you understand? Some of you need to learn that. Some of you need to learn that. You need to learn delayed gratification. It's not every time that you must eat ice cream. Sometimes you have to delay it for a while until you now desperately want it. Then you hide your statuses and then you chow ice cream. Do I have a church today? Yes, it's called delayed gratification. Why? Because that ability is being patient in spirit. I know you want to drive a car, a very good car. But if you're going to buy a Range Rover Evoque now, with the income that you have, all your money is going to be wasted on fuel. And it's not a wise decision. Because you're still growing up, you're still building up yourself. At least when you turn 37, I can expect you to be driving that. Up when you're only 23, you're like, I want to drive that thing now. You are wise, but your wisdom needs to be upgraded. Somebody say amen. I have a church today. Yes, it's called being patient in spirit. There are things that come with time. Trust me. There are things that come with time. Things that come with time. If you want to preach like me, you're going to be patient in spirit. Because if you were there when I started, you would see how being patient in spirit helps. Let's go to the last scripture. Isaiah 46, verse number 9 and 10. Isaiah 46. Isaiah 46. Woo! Oh, today's word is powerful. I feel it rolling. I feel it rolling. Feel it rolling. So my wife didn't see me wearing this. She just saw me finally fully dressed. She's looking at me, she's like, huh? She wanted to pass a comment. But I said, be patient in spirit. Isaiah 46, verse 9. Remember the former things of old. Tell your neighbor that. Say it again. You've got to remember, polite to remember, you're telling me that you used to wear those oversized suits. You've got to remember those days. Don't ignore those days. Hello? Remember those days because they will help you. Remember. The mistake that most of you do is that you have a very shallow memory to forget where God saw you at and where you are now. So you complain about the bacon is overcooked. There was a time where you couldn't even buy bread. Do I have a church here? Yes, there was a time where you couldn't afford bread. But now you're saying the bacon is overcooked. Wait. Be humble. Remember the former things of old. Say, neighbor, rangarira zakudara. For I am God and there is none else. I am God and there is none like me. Here it comes now. My favorite part. Declaring the end from the beginning. What do you do from the end? You declare the end from the... So in your beginning, you announce the end. Do I have a church today? Yes. In your beginning, everybody has a beginning. Today is somebody's beginning. Some of you have been living very sinful lives. Today is a beginning. Do I have a church? Some of you have been living very, very poor lives. Today is a beginning. Some of you have been heartbroken all your life. But today is a... So you declare what's going to come in the end. Do I have a church? You don't cry. Hello? Now, the good thing about this particular text is that whatsoever you declare has an end that it's waiting for. Do I have a church? So if in your beginning you're always complaining, I want you to know you are declaring literally. Oh, do I have a church? Do I have a church today? There are people that complain about everything. They complain about everything. They complain. They even complain to themselves. Why am I beautiful? You're making a mistake. Do I have a church today? So in the beginning, what do you do? What do you declare? What do you declare? Because that's the culture of God, declaring the end from the beginning. And from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Since it's build the future, build your future. The future is a realm in the spirit. The future is a realm in the spirit that can be accessed by everyone. The future is a realm in the spirit that can be accessed by everyone. How old are you? How old are you? 18. Good. So you're a young 18-year-old girl, right? There is a future called 28. There is a future called 38, 48, 58, 68, 78, 88, 98, 108. There's a future like that. The devil does not have access to that future. He doesn't have it. The devil only has access to your past. That's what he has access to. That's the reason why when you're trying to pray so much, you got your life going on, he brings up your past. You are a thief. But in the past 5 seconds, you didn't steal anything. But he brings up you're a fornicator. But you've been pure for the past 7 months. Then he brings up because all access that the devil has, all the access that he has is only the past. And when he brings up the past, he brings up the past to condemn. What does he bring up the past to do? To condemn. So you bring up things that happened when you were only 15 years of age. But you're now a 36-year-old man. It's like, you remember when you're 15, this is what happened. Why? Because he's access to that. However, God has the future. Do I have a church today? And he has trusted the future to the sons of man. That is you and me. Scripture is clear. He has put eternity in their hearts. So God has put eternity in your heart. That eternity is future. Now, how do you then access that future? 3 ways. Say 3 ways. Write these things. Number one, thoughts. How do you access the future? Number two, say words. Number three, actions. Say actions. We're going to deal with these three, and then we get into a bit of a preaching mode dealing with Joseph. The future is a realm in the spirit that can be accessed through thoughts, words, and actions. Thoughts. Thoughts are ideas. Thoughts are ideas. Thoughts are concepts. Thoughts are stories. Thoughts are narratives. You can write ideas, concepts, stories, narratives. That's what thoughts are. Thoughts. Thoughts are the seeds of heaven. Thoughts are the seeds of heaven. They are the ideas of heaven. Essentially, when heaven wants to honor you and wants to favor you, they give you the seeds of heaven. Those seeds of heaven are thoughts. Those thoughts are ideas. When heaven says we're giving seed to a person, they're giving you ideas. Some of you have very good ideas. And you just think it's just you got a sharp mind. Wait, you don't have a sharp mind. But it's because heaven loves you enough. According to 2 Corinthians 9, he gives seed to the sower. The seed that he gives are the ideas, the thoughts. So you're just driving in your car, and then all of a sudden you pass through some building. You're like, in that building, I can put up that. I can put up a computer station, do that. That's just not ordinary. But it is heaven honoring you and giving you ideas. At every stage of human life and human existence, heaven gives ideas. Whether you are an 18-year-old girl, like Michelle here, or you are a 37-year-old man, heaven is still giving ideas. It still drops ideas continuously. It gives ideas. That's the reason why one young man who's just about 13 years of age can make a decision that I want to go and study medicine in school, or maybe I want to become a pilot in life. That thought is not just an ordinary thought, but heaven drops that idea into them. This is why you must be very careful to watch your life. Watch the thoughts that come to you. Now, when the devil also wants to manipulate your life, he introduces thoughts. He introduces thoughts. So thoughts such as lust. Jesus says, if you look at a woman to lust after her, you've already committed adultery with her in your heart. That thought was introduced by the devil into your system so that you can build an idea. You have access to a future. That is a bad future. Do I have a church today? All matters, Jesus says, come from the heart. All adulteries, fornications, evil, malice comes from the heart. How? The devil releases a thought and an idea. You incubate over that thought before you realize there's a manifestation. If you are running a business in this church, please put up your hand. All right. Those of you that are running businesses in this church, how did those businesses come about? Do you see that? It started off as an idea. If you are working somewhere in this church, you are employed somewhere, please put up your hand. That means you're a skilled person. And as a skilled person where you're employed, at some point you made a decision that I wanted to get this skill. An idea came to you. Do you realize that? Now, some are 5 years old. Some are 10 years old. Some are 16 years old. Some are 22 years old. Others, like myself, are probably 27 years old in the preaching ministry. That means at that age, a thought came to me. And then my future has the manifestation of that thought. This is why you've got to be careful what thought is coming to you. Do I have a church today? I said, do I have a church today? So heaven releases seed. Say, heaven releases seed. Thoughts inform the imaginative constituents of your life. Thoughts inform your imaginative constituents. Every one of us has an imaginative constituents. What do I mean by that? There is Harare North constituents. It's an area. Simply put, it's a space where people operate. Every one of us, given by God, is a space in your mind where you can be so creative. Oh, do I have a church today? This morning when I made breakfast, and then I said to my wife, "Don't join me for breakfast." She jumped out of bed like no man's business. I said, you love food for nothing. So she came there, she found the table prepared. Why? In my imaginative world, I set up a table. As I was setting it up, I said, he prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. My imagination was working. Every one of us has been given by God an imaginative constituents. It is what you do with your imagination that determines what comes into your world. Look at the way you're dressed right now. Just look at yourself top to bottom. Please do that. Please do that. Polite, my son, is the most dressed, better dressed here. Now, look at yourself top to bottom. It is a faculty of your imagination. What is it? Yes. The way you're dressed right now shows us how creative you are in your life. Now, don't look at anybody. Respectfully, don't look at anyone. I don't want other people to be offended. Yes. So, brooded upon the words of your mouth. Thoughts brooded upon create the words of your mouth. That's what I want to say. Thoughts brooded upon create the words of your mouth. Say after me, thoughts that you brood upon create the words of your mouth. So if you sit long enough upon a thought, it then becomes words. Do you see that now? Hello? Now, sorry to use this today. I'm on the pulpit. Putsek. Your thoughts are producing that. And you're now channeling it to a child that's so innocent. It is that you are brooding over the wrong thing. Do I have a church today? Big head. Where? You are brooding over the wrong. You are brooding over the wrong. Yes. Do I have a church? One day when I was in high school, I got myself into trouble. There was a certain girl. It was a very sad story. Very sad. But there was a certain girl. And she had been annoying me for a while. You know, we're in the same class, but she's annoying. She just does what she wants. She's got a foul mouth. And for a while, for some time, I was quiet. You know, I was just meditating upon what I want to say to her. Oh, I was that day. I was for a while. Day 1, week 2, week 8. We went for a holiday. We came back. Now we are now around about week 7, week 8, week 9, thereabout. All of a sudden, she does something. I just said rubbish. Oh, I did say rubbish that day. I can't tell you what I said, but I said rubbish. No, it wasn't vulgar. You know, why are you looking? No, I don't say vulgar. I'm not like you. But I said rubbish that day. I just said rubbish. And then she cried heavily. She cried so much because for over 7 months, I was brooding on something. Finally, what I was brooding on was heavy enough that when I released it, just one word, she cried so much. The entire class heard about it. It went to the teacher in charge. It went to the staff room. It got to the headmaster. The headmaster said, "You boy are in trouble." Are you listening to me? So be careful what you're brooding upon. Have a church. If you look at that girl long enough, you continuously look at her, you're like, she's got those curves. You're looking at, one day, you will find yourself in trouble. Yes, I know what I'm saying. 100%. Gotta be careful. Thoughts brooded upon long enough, they then become words. So the next thing, the next dimension in which we access the future is words. Say words. Shout words. Words are spirit. What are words? According to John 6, verse number 63. Words are spirit. Jesus says the words that I speak, they are spirit and they are life. So words are spirit. Words are not just empty things that are being thrown away. Words are spirit. They have an agenda. They carry an atmosphere. That's what words do. That's why in a service like this, if the music guys are singing rubbish, the atmosphere is going to be rubbish because their words are releasing an atmosphere. They're creating something that's not healthy for anybody else. Do I have a church today? If ever you've attended a Japanese show, I don't intend to. Don't even give me a ticket. I'm done. If ever you've attended a Japanese show, there's an atmosphere that's there. But if you attended a Minister Michael Mayendere show, I am looking forward to the next one. Please buy me a ticket way in advance. Glory be to God. You are buying me my ticket. Do I have a church today? So in that place, there is an atmosphere. The other time, you were singing for Prophet Bruce in Blue Whale. I've never sensed such a... Now, my wife and I were watching that thing all night. I sent Prophet Bruce a message. I said, Prophet, for the past 7 hours, my wife and I were connected and tuning in. There was an atmosphere when Minister Mike came onto the platform. For 1 hour, the atmosphere, even in the bedroom, we could sense that there's something thick here. Why? Words are spirit. Do I have a church today? So words are spirit. Say words are spirit. If words are spirit, what spirit are you creating? What atmosphere are you creating? Words are spirit. Number 2, words create or destroy the future. What do they do? What do they do? Every child, every adult that suffers from a low self-esteem can be traced back to a word that was spoken by an adult when they were young. So that adult created a future by the use of their words. Do I have a church here? Now, Pastor, for a very long time, I struggled with the low self-esteem. Because when I was young, I was skinny like I am. And they would give me all sorts of nicknames that affected my esteem. It took a bit of praying, by the way. Trust me. It took a bit of confidence building exercises to arrive to where I am. But it's because there was an adult who would say rubbish over a child. That's why you got to be careful with the words that are coming out of your mouth. You got to be careful what you're speaking to that little one. Even when you think that they can't hear what you're saying, they hear what you are saying. Somebody say amen. Say amen a second time. Oh, do I have a church? Because words either create or they destroy the future. Number three, concerning words. You eat what you say. Say that. Please say it with energy. Proverbs 18, verse number 2. Write this Bible verse down. If you can go there, let's go there quickly. Proverbs chapter number 13, verse number 2. Proverbs is in the Old Testament, soon after the book of Psalms. I like teaching the Bible, you know. Proverbs 13, verse number 2. A man shall eat the good, but a man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth. Say, a man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth. Let's go a couple of pages on to Proverbs 18, verse 21. I like this one very well. Proverbs 18, verse 21. Repeat after me. Death and life, on top of your voice, death and life in the power of the tongue. What is in the power of the tongue? Do you see that? So your words can either create death or they can create your life right now. Does it have life? That's good. That means your words have been creating that life. If your life right now does not have life, it means your own words, not your pastor, not the bishop. Don't blame Life Excellence Church. I am not there when you are at home. You are on your own at home. And the words of your mouth are the ones that are creating that future. If you come to this church and I'm always cursing, I'm cursing, then you have every right to leave this church. I give you my word, leave this church. If whatever I'm saying from the pulpit does not bless, does not build life, then please leave the church, go and find another church that always speaks life. I have a church. But if you come here and we're speaking life, then don't leave. And if there are no results in your life, go and check where you are spending 2/3 of your time. Oh, do I have a church? I said, do I have a church? Some of you have bad friends that you must delete from your phone contact and leave them completely. Some of you have bad relatives that you need to distance yourself away from. Some of them are your blood relatives. Your brother, your sister. You need to walk away from them. I said it standing here. Thank you. You love me so much. Everybody else is like, are you trying to create a division? Yes, I've come to do that. Because those people have been delaying and dragging your life for as long as it matters. Huh? You go for a family function. Oh, the boss, Tekazvona pano unombosvika iwe. Ndikadegree kako kakateka. Mabasa asombowanika muZimbabwe. Run away. You just can't leave your spouse. Do I have a church? Hello? Are you listening to me? Yes. There are people that go, because their words are creating a death atmosphere. I hate with a passion negative atmospheres. And I dislike those that create them. I chose my words correctly there. I dislike them. I try to help them. So if you come into my world and you're not necessarily a positive person, I can watch you for a while and then I start to distance myself. You won't notice it, by the way. But I just tend to move away because being too negative creates negative atmospheres. Look at your neighbor and say, create a good atmosphere. If they're not talking to you, then please change your seat. Write this down. Your world is a reflection of the words of God. Write that down. Your world is a reflection of the words of God. What did I say? I can't hear you. Joshua chapter number 1, verse number 8. We did it last time. Let's go there again. Joshua 1, verse 8. This has to be an anthem in this church. Create prayer points around this one, because I like it very well. Joshua 1, verse 8. Let's go there. Joshua is just before Judges, soon after Deuteronomy. Joshua 1, verse 8. Who is there? Joshua 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, and then shalt thou have good success. Who shall make your way prosperous? Who shall make your way prosperous? They're mumbling now. Who shall make your way prosperous? Open your Bible. What did you come to church to do? Give me something, Anya. Just give me something, Anya. Just go on, because some of them are sleeping. Joshua 1, verse 8. Are you there? Are you there? Let's read it together. 1, 2, 3, go. Who shall make your way prosperous? Who shall make your way prosperous? God, your bishop, the government of Zimbabwe, the United Nations. Who shall make your way prosperous? You are told what to meditate upon. This book of the law, which is the word of the Lord, shall not depart from your, but you shall, upon it, you shall do it. Meditate upon it, what? We said, whatsoever you brood upon, which is to meditate, whatever thought you brood upon, which is to meditate, create words from your mouth. There was a time when a certain man of God got angry and upset with me. So he wanted me to come and preach at his church. And he extends a verbal invitation. And then I said to him, if the Lord will, I'll be there. He got very angry. He said, have you been reading James and the book of James too much, especially in the King James? I said, yes. Because the Bible says, if the Lord will, I will find myself there. I was brooding over the Bible. The words of my mouth were now in the King James language. Do I have a church? Hello? Now, sometimes when you have certain privileges, there are things that you see. Currently, I'm noticing that my reels and TikTok seem to be informing a lot of our lives. That's why right now, polite, if we're going to be generous, tika tora phone tika goridza kama song. Can I'm a piano. You will find my movements. Do you know how to play I'm a piano? You will find my movements because you've been meditating upon that day and night. So now it's informing your words. Because whatsoever you brood upon and whatsoever you repeatedly say creates either faith or fear. And that translates into action. So whatever you continuously say, whatever you repeatedly say, creates either an atmosphere of faith or an atmosphere of fear. And that atmosphere of faith or fear translates into action. We say that you access your future by the thoughts, the words, and the actions. Somebody say actions. Actions are the result of what you repeatedly say. Your actions are a byproduct of what you repeatedly say. If you're saying something that's negative all the time, it produces a negative action. Actions are the direct consequence of your faith. Say, actions are the direct consequence of my faith. So if you have a faith atmosphere that you've been creating by the words of your mouth, that faith atmosphere is going to produce an action for you. James says to us that, show me your faith and I'll show you my works. Works, there are actions. So he tells us that a person that claims to have faith has a resultant action that comes with it. I'll give you a basic example that's been there throughout Christendom forever and ever. The fact that you're sitting on that chair is a sign that you've demonstrated faith on the ability of those four legs to bear your weight up. So your faith has told you, if you put your bum down, that chair is going to suspend and carry you up. Do I have a church today? Now, whatsoever you are acting towards is a clear sign of what you have faith towards. That's good, Antika. You can never say that I have faith to be a millionaire and there's no resultant effect of the $1 million. I have faith that I'm going to get into town. And the day ends, there is no you arriving in town. The reality is that you have wishful thinking over you. That's not necessarily faith. Because the direct consequence of faith is action. Do I have a church today? I know that you have faith in something. Faith towards something based on the actions that you put towards that. Oh, I want to get married. I'm trusting God to get married. But there is no fruit to prove that you are trusting God to get married. A story by the late Paul Yong-Cho in his book, Fourth Dimension, of a certain lady that came to him and said, Pastor, pray for me so that I get married. The pastor said, what kind of a man do you want? The lady described the man that she wanted. She wrote all the qualities. Tall, dark, handsome. Do I have a church today? One that drives a bicycle. One that actually, she wrote it. Then the man of God said, take that, stick it up on your wall. Stuck that thing on a wall, and every time she woke up, she would see it, and then she would confess it. She would speak against it. Before she realized it, she was married to that guy. So her faith demonstrated, proved, or gave us a resultant action. Do I have a church today? Oh, I'm the next best business person. But we don't see any steps towards you being, I have declared that I'm the Prince of Preachers, and I have an action towards it. Are you listening to me today? I'm telling you that so that we can see the things that you say I have faith for. Your future is one act away. Do I have a church today? Your future is one act away. The money you're trusting God for is literally one act away. If only you would wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and then you'd get out of the house, take a jog round about your house, bath and then go to work. You might be driving that car by now. Possibly you might have been owning that stand by now. You are just an action away from the future that you're supposed to be having. Thanks be to God for the thoughts that you have. Thanks be to God for the ideas that you've been giving birth to. You've been confessing the scriptures and speaking them out. You've been brooding over a word. I was young and I'm old now. Never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his children begging for bread. You've brooded over that for a long time. You've confessed it from the words of your mouth. You are just one action away from realizing that dream. I don't know if I have a church this afternoon. I don't know if I have believers this afternoon that are ready to act upon the word of God. Repeated actions create habits. Habits form a lifestyle. What have you been repeatedly doing? If you claim to be a prayer warrior, prove to us by the prayers that you make, the continuous prayers that you lift up, the repeated actions of prayer that you make. Some of you are just one action away from the prayer warrior that you're supposed to be. Some of you are just one decision away from holding that $10,000. Some of you are just one decision away from flying to Dubai. You've got the faith for it, but you're left with the actions. Step out in faith. Act upon the thoughts you have. Clap your hands and say amen. Come on, clap those hands and say amen. If I can get to my story now, it is Professor Saburi Bioka who said that great men appear now and again to help shape the course of human history. The history of their lives does not itself amount to the totality of the history of man. It nevertheless serves to illuminate that history and the issues that pertain to history unravel the course of human events. The reason I bring that thought to you is because the story of Build Your Future is the story of Joseph, one man who altered the course of human history. His story starts in the life of Abraham, who God called out of Ur of the Chaldees. This man, Abraham, believed in God. And for the 125 years that he lived according to the template of God, the words of God, the instruction of God over his life. For those 125 years, he demonstrated to the rest of human history that it pays to serve the Lord. It's an honorable thing to worship God. It's an amazing thing to trust in Jehovah. Brothers and sisters, Abraham gave birth to Isaac. Isaac gave birth to two twin boys, Jacob and Esau. Esau gave birth to 12 boys. Of those 12 boys was a young man called Joseph. Joseph was number 11 in that mix of babies. As the 11th child, he came as a golden child who was the very product of Jacob and Rachel. Rachel was Jacob's favorite wife. He was a product of believing and trusting in God. When he came onto the scene, the Bible tells us that Jacob loved Joseph so much. It was after the birth of Jacob, after the birth of Joseph, that Jacob made a decision that we better leave this place. Let's go back home where we have our inheritance. Brothers and sisters, one man meditating upon the thought of God, upon the promises of God, he lifted up his family, went back to Palestine. It is upon that journey that he encounters God. His name is changed from being Jacob to Israel. It is upon this that he sees the promise of God. But the story continues. The Bible tells us Jacob made a coat of many colors for his favorite son, who was Joseph. This particular coat was a prophetic statement to the future generations that Joseph is coming. He's not an ordinary boy. He's a multi-gifted boy. The day you were born, they gave you a name. They said, Adam is your name. You are the first man. Adam is your name. You are a leader amongst others. Adam is your name. You pioneer and you chart a course. I don't know if Mama knew that she gave birth to an apostle, but in my own imagination, he declared the end from the beginning. She prophesied the leader is coming. There is a prophetic word hanging over your life. That prophetic word is locked up in your name. That prophetic word is locked up in your actions. That prophetic word is locked up in your imagination. That prophetic word is locked up in your words. Say the words. Say the words. Shout the words. Declare the words. Because you are building your future. Your future is dependent upon your words. Upon what you are saying. Upon what you are acting. I say to you, you are an action away from your future. Shout, I am an action away from my future. I am the word away from my future. I am a thought away from my future. I am an idea away from my future. Arise, Joseph. There is destiny over you. Arise, Joseph. There is future over you. Arise, Joseph. There is an inheritance. There is a nation that's waiting for a leader. Arise, Joseph. My hands and say amen. Please help a preacher this afternoon. Clap your hands and say amen. Build your future. I say build your future. So Joseph is a multi-gifted boy. He can interpret dreams. He can dream the dreams. He can see in the spirit. He can see the future. He has got leadership skills on him. He can interact with royalty. He can interact with the least and the greatest. He can make decisions. He knows how to manage money. They trusted him with the wealth of Egypt. Oh, this is leadership. This is being multi-gifted. That's Joseph for you. But the statement came when he was young. That he made a coat. I wish I could have worn a many-colored coat in a day like this day and show you how God sees the end from the beginning. Can I tell you something today? Everything about your end has been announced by God. Every resource you needed has been made available by God way before you arrive. Right. You are trusting God for money to buy a car. In the future, the Lord is already saying the money is available. So between then and now, I am an imagination away, an idea away, a word away, an action away from the future that I deserve. So build your future. I say build your future. Build your future. Build your future. Akuna kuchema. Build your future. Weep no more. Build that future. When they took Joseph, put him in the pit, in his heart, a future was coming. Took him out of the pit, sold him to the Ishmaelites. In his heart, a future was coming. Sold to Potiphar. Betrayed by Potiphar's wife. In his heart, a future was coming. Thrown into the prison. In his heart, a future was coming. Year number 1 passed.
In his heart, the future was coming. They dream dreams. He interprets their dreams. In his heart, the future was coming. Can I announce to you, the day you were born, the future was ready for you. It was ready to welcome you. It was ready to receive you. Forgetting the things that are past, forgetting the things that are behind. I press towards the future. I press towards my future. Build your future. Build your future. Build. Shout build. 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 So build your future. Don't sleep. Build the future. Don't cry. Build the future. Don't complain. Build the future. Don't weep. Build the future. Hakuna kurara hope. Do I have a church? Do I have believers that are ready to build? Build your future. Shout my future. I build my future. I build my future. I build my tomorrow. I build. Do I have a church? Don't be jealous of someone's present, because their present was once a future that they dreamed of having. Now they have it. Just learn the lessons. If it can happen in Zimbabwe, it can happen in Malawi. If it can happen in Matthew's life, wait, Adam, your future. Do I have a church? Do I have a church? I know you're trusting God to fly out of the country. You've seen so and so go. Sister so and so is gone. Brother so and so is gone. Sometimes you feel a bit jealous, but don't be jealous. Just know, 8 months ago, it was their future. Now they have their future. Just create your own. Build your own. Imagine your own. Your future is an action away. Your future is a word away. Your future is an idea away. Do I have a church? Do I have a church? The Bible says one day Pharaoh dreams a dream. He needs an interpreter. The butler remembers someone some years ago interpreted my dream. Finally now, Joseph is arriving to his future. Day and not day, he got to his future. Step by step, I'm getting to my future. Line upon line, I'm getting to my future. Line upon line, I'm getting to my future. Precept upon precept, brick upon brick, word upon word, action upon action. I'm navigating to my future. The GPS has a location recorded. Future. Here I come. The devil likes it or not. Here I come. Ready or not. Future. Here I come. So let's build our future. Life Excellence Church is an amazing ministry. We are a global church with a network of churches in various cities. Let's build the future. Take along with me. Come along with me. Let's build the future. We are the future that we want to see. We are the 2025 that we want to have. Come on, kids. We are the 2028 that we want to have. We are the 2030 Dendi Chipo that we want to have. We are the generation. So build. Build. I say 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 build. The Bible says Joseph cleaned his hair, got up, wore a robe, I believe it was the coat of many colors that he wore that day. As he said, future, here I come. I'm arriving in the presence of Pharaoh. What is the matter, Pharaoh? The future has arrived. I have come to make an announcement. The future has arrived. Put your hand on your head. Say, I am the future. Shout, I am the future. You are about to arrive. You are about to arrive. Nothing is catching you by surprise. Are you listening to me? If the Sangoma says, Drukuona Gumba, wherever you say, the future light has come. The future light has come. Jesus walked on water. I walk over atmospheres. I walk over pits. I walk over territories. The future has arrived. The future has arrived. In your future, you dream dreams. In your future, there are quality dreams. In your future, you attract people, not ordinary people, quality people. In your future, you choose your preferred lifestyle. It's not just a topper life. My preferred lifestyle. In your future, you choose your annual holidays. I'm not going to Musha. Quality holiday. Maswe kudanda akapera. Anditsokere kudanda ini. Dubai, Paris. Do I have a church? Zurich, New York City. That's future. You're fighting me today. I say that's future. Lamborghini. That's future. A Ferrari. That's future. And the Rolex watch. That's future. The BMW 7 Series. That's future. Mercedes Benz S-Class. That's future. I don't know if I have a church. Malibu. Hawaii. That's future. Victoria Falls. That's future. That's future. Tikanzwanzwa kunzaiswa kumusha uyu. Ndorova iwe na iwe chete. Tiwandorane panje. You've deprived them of quality thoughts. Listen to me very well. Over the lunch hour service, I shared the story of our Kumusha in Gandhi, where there is a river called Msenkezi. And I was trying to give an example. After that thing, I was a bit heartbroken. I said, why couldn't I give stories of I was in New York City when I was 13 years of age? It's because somebody chose not to create my future. I could have been giving examples of Washington, D.C., my future. Do I have a church? Do I have a church? So create the future. Create the future. Create the future. Build. Shout amen. Shout a better amen. You choose your annual holidays in your future. Didn't I don't want to take us to $80. Don't run a punch. In Baba, don't run a punch. You try to take us to $150. Do I have a church here? Say, build your future. Ask for $150. Say, build your future. You choose the holidays you want. Do I have a church? You choose your place of residence. Akuna kukariswa kunjimbo nekuda kuti ndo budget yako. My future. Buy a budget. No, we were house hunting with him the other time. Are you listening to me? You choose your future. Say, I choose my future. Shout again, I choose my future. You choose your investments. You choose your associates. Unozvisarudzira wega. Clap your hands and say amen. So Joseph got to Pharaoh's courts. His future arrived. Where we finally read the future that he saw, his 11 brothers bowing down to him, mama and daddy bowing themselves to him, finally arrived. I hear by the word of the Lord, some of you just need a little bit of self-belief. Just to believe that it's possible. Self-belief. You can do it. Look at yourself top to bottom. Just stand. Stand and look at yourself top to bottom. Antika, look at yourself top to bottom. I wish I had a gigantic mirror here. Just please look at yourself. Just look at yourself. Look at yourself. You can do it. You've never seen a fly, Bishop. Fly, Bishop. Oh, I can do it. I can do it. I'm the best, Bishop. Yes, a bit of self-belief. Yes. I don't need to tell the whole world. I'm just telling myself, I'm the best bishop I've ever seen in my life. Self-belief. Just a little bit of self-belief. Just self-belief. Just to tell yourself it's possible. The future that we see is possible. Woo! Thank you, Holy Spirit. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. When you are young, your life is dependent on your guardians. When you're now of age, it's no longer your guardians anymore. But I know some of you are still caught up in that realm. That's why when you have become a small problem, you run to mama, you run to tete. No. You're no longer at that stage anymore. You are now responsible for what's coming to pass. Are we together? Are we together? You are responsible. I know. May I want a guy that can make me happy? You're wrong. That guy, Takura, is also saying in his heart, I want a girl that can make me happy. Now there's fights left, right, and center. You don't make me happy. You don't make me happy. Hear me. You have just 120 years to live. And you can't trust those 120 years into the hands of another human being. Are you normal? May I want a bishop that can preach very well? You're not normal. You create yourself. Do you have a church today? Do you have a church today? Do you have a church today? You create it yourself. You create it. Come, music team. I want to sing a bit and then we go. You create that future yourself. Oh, Arena. I sense so much is opening up right now. I say to you in the opening, ideas are the seeds of heaven. I just saw the heaven open up a curtain right now. And they are releasing ideas right now. In this atmosphere, there are ideas that are coming. There are ideas about your future. Come on. It's a moment right now. There are ideas about your future. Heaven has just opened up. Sha. Mantea, liba the cosa, shake it till it goes story by the Messiah. Prophesy. Lift up your hand.